Shalom, all praises be unto Yahweh Bashem Yahushua Bashem Rakakodash, double honor unto the elder apostles, the elder bishops, the great millstone, who are well. He taught us his truth, salutes unto all the sincere, Akim pushing the word in truth and sincerity. And pretty much, Joshua knew the alterations of the sun, because he would have been taught by Moses, okay? Because, I was watching some videos earlier on YouTube and people trying to, claim they can prove the Bible ain't real because it don't add up with modern day science. Well, modern day science doesn't add up with the Bible. How about that? In school they'll teach you that the earth, goes around the sun and it takes 365 days. But according to the scriptures, the heavenly bodies rotate around the earth. The earth will spin on its axis. But as for an actual velocity, that isn't the case, because there's a difference between speed and velocity. There's a velocity on its axis in that the earth spins, in a circular motion, if you will. The earth spins. But as for it moving and around the sun, which would be velocity, because velocity is speed plus direction, that's not the case. It's the heavenly bodies that move around the earth, right? So this is Joshua chapter 10 and 12. And, could get more into it in, Genesis breakdown, which we've done many times. If the Spirit saw me, I'll do it again. But this is Joshua 10 and 12. It says, Then spake Joshua to the Lord in the day when the Lord Yahweh delivered up the Amorites before the sons of Israel. And he said in the sight of Israel's son, Stand thou still upon Gibeon, and thou moon in the valley of Ajalon. Okay. So this is a verse that, scoffers and non-believers will use. You see, the Bible says that the sun moves. When really it's the earth that moves around the sun. Well, that's not the case. Joshua, who is the successor in leadership after Moses, was able to say this. Now the question is how. Okay. This is Wisdom of Solomon. And I'll start from verse 17. Wisdom of Solomon 7 and 17. For he hath given me certain knowledge of the things that are, namely to know how the world was made, and the operation of the elements, the beginning, the ending, and the midst of the times, the alterations of the turning of the sun, and the change of seasons, the circuits of years, and the positions of stars. Okay. So, it's the sun that moves, man. The sun and the moon that has a velocity and trajectory. Okay, speed plus direction. So it's these heavenly bodies that go around the earth, man. Alright, let's read that again. Verse 17. For you have given me certain knowledge of the things that are, namely to know how the world was made, and the operations of the elements, the beginning, ending, and the midst of times, the alterations of the turning of the sun, and the change of seasons, the circuits of years, and the positions of stars. Okay? So straight up, man, the alterations of the turning of the sun, right? Now people will be quick to, the Bible's wrong. But then you're taking so-called knowledge and understanding, so-called, from a man who claimed to go up to the moon and can't do it ever since. Yet technology has gotten greater. You can't work out that he lied to you yet, but you're gonna believe him on what happens apparently in so-called outer space. He ain't even as advanced as he wants you to believe. It's crazy, man. But then the Bible says, well, this is what actually happens, and people scoff at it. This is 2nd Ezra 14, verse 3 said, Then said unto me, In the bush I did manifest reveal myself unto Moses, which is the angel of the Lord, right? Yahushua, and it said, and brought him up to the mount of where I held him by me a long season. And I told him many wondrous things, and shewed him secrets of the times and the end, and commanded him, saying, These words shalt thou declare, and these shalt thou hide. So how did Moses know? Right? We got the Torah, which is an abridged, bullet point version, if you will, of, events, especially dealing with creation, but although he wrote in an abridged version, the Lord actually broke it down to him in totality, man. And that long season was 40 days and 40 nights. He was up there with the Lord, man. Okay. On the mount, So, how did Joshua know? Because he was the understudy of Moses. So Moses would have told him, look, man, when I was up there with the Lord, he showed me the creation, explained it to me, So they knew that it's the sun and the moon that go around the earth, not the earth that goes around the sun, man. Okay. But again, people will believe, the so-called white man just because he's the so-called white man. He's Edomites, I should say. Oh, no, well, science is this and science is that. They ain't even been to the moon, man. And why ain't they gone back? And every attempt they've made to so-called go back, it ain't worked out. The spaceship crashes, it this, it that, whatever. Because they didn't do it in the first place, man. It was a lie. So don't just believe what he says in the name of science. A lot of it is speculative witchcraft, man. Alright? The Bible tells us what is up with the constellations, man. For real. Anyways with that, man, I'm out, man. Shalom.